Yeah, cybersecurity is now a lot more driven by AI and machine learning techniques and has captivated the digital landscape with its ability to create realistic yet deceptive content. So during the presentation, you can hear a few of this to be addressed. How to gain better visibility, machine learning applied to detect smishing attacks and automate response. Seeing is not believing. The intriguing world of deepfake technology. Explore how AI technologies are being used to gather and analyze threat intelligence data, enabling organization to proactively identify and respond to cyber threats. So we are very pleased, Yaka, to present to you by a few BLCC Asia. The platform is presented by BLCC Champ Vietnam. The coordination of the whole event is done by Miss Sophie of BLCC Champ Japan. Myself, I'm Collin from BLCC Champ Malaysia. So without any further delay, I hand over the session to our moderator, Mr. Abbas. Over to you, Abbas.
Thank you, Pauline. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on time. So without further ado, let's get started and invite our first speaker. Our first speaker is Mohamed, I believe. Mohamed, over to you. You can do the self-introduction and get started.
Okay, thanks. Maybe before introducing myself, could you launch the video, AP, please?
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm sorry, I will not be able to physically join you in this session today. I made this recording because there was a risk that I might not be able to participate at the last minute, which has indeed happened. I had to leave for a business trip. I'm far from you, but at least you can see my avatar. I welcome you to our event, Seeing is Not Believing, and leave you in the hands of the real me. During our talks and demonstration session, we will explore AI technology, present what are deepfakes, examine their implications from various perspectives, and
Okay, great. Okay, hello everyone. I don't know if I should say good evening or good afternoon. Here in Luxembourg, it's the morning. So I'm Mohamed Ourdane. I'm currently leading the cybersecurity within Post Luxembourg. Post Luxembourg is equivalent to NTT for in Japan. So we are providing telecom services, ICT, cloud, and obviously postal services as well. I showed you the avatar that I've made, combining both video and voice, just to show you how easy it is to consider or to provide such avatars. And obviously, one of the questions that has been raised is it bad or good? I mean, technology is not bad or good. It really depends the purpose. You will use this technology to do something. And basically, what I would like to show you through this, let's say, artificial intelligence usage is two aspects. One is really the deepfake. I will try as much as possible to define what a deepfake is, and also to give you some real examples. And a second element is the machine learning, which is a kind of subset of artificial intelligence, how we use it practically in telecom security. And I will show you some examples around telecom security, but that that could have impact on any subscriber or customer. First of all, what is a deepfake? Deepfake is really a kind of combination between deep learning and fake, which is basically use deep learning techniques in order to do something fake. And I wanted to take the definition that is in the Recital 70B, Intelligent Artificial Act of the European Union, which states that it is an AI system that is used to generate or manipulate any kind of content like image, audio, and video that resembles the reality, so existing persons, places, or events, and would fairly appear to a person to be authentic. I think this definition really show the relationship between what is generated and the impact to the one that will receive this information or digital information. So what are the risks of deepfakes in general? I used to divide them into three categories. The first one is a risk to the data subject, to the person itself, which I call the psychological harm. And it could be a sextortion, it could be intimidation, it could be bullying. You have also another category, which is the financial harm, like frauds, extortions, or even brand damage for companies. And moreover, and we see it more and more, the societal harm, which basically could have a huge impact on two democracies, like manipulation of elections, knowing that we use social media in order to spread all this manipulated content. And it could even have as a consequence a trust erosion around what we can see or read on the news. Is it a real threat or is it a theoretical one? No, it's really real. And I will take the example of financial harm. You see here several examples of fraudster using, for example, artificial intelligence in order to generate voice, mimicking the CEO to do any kind of fraud through that. You have fake news that could have an impact on stock exchange, for example. Or more recently, and I think it was Zoom that was used, where a CEO presented with the voice and with the video itself, asked someone within the company to transfer 25 million euro or dollars, sorry, here. So it has a real impact, and it is used more and more. And we have another issue also, which is the identity theft that could be a great threat to everyone, basically. The four types of defects. There are mainly several defects types. The first one is we create something that doesn't exist, which is fully synthetic, and it could be used for a good purpose, for example, in advertisement or on movie. You have also the facial attribute manipulation, where you have someone and you add a verb like you see, or transform this guy to get to be older, or to be transformed from a man to woman. You have also the face swap, where you take one person and you swap the faces from an existing person, like here you can see with Hillary Clinton. And you have a facial reenactment, sorry, this word is very hard to pronounce, which is basically to take two real persons and you mix the attributes to create a new person, basically. I used to take this statement from Michael Grothaus, which is the author of the book Trust No One Inside the World of Defects, which states there's a video of me attempting an armed robbery, but despite this video showing me committing the crime, it never actually happened. By saying so, raises the concern of evidence. If something happens, could the evidence be tampered? And this is a real threat on what should be considered as an event or something fake. You may say then, okay, but well, if artificial intelligence can create such a defect, maybe we can use artificial intelligence also to detect this defect. This exists. I give you an example here, where you have what we call supervised machine learning. That means that we take a bunch of training data, which is the input source, like here Brad Pitt, but only on Brad Pitt, different picture of Brad Pitt. We create a model, and then each time we submit a picture of Brad Pitt, the model will certainly say if it's real or fake, close to 100%. The problem with that is that if we take another set, like another actor here, and we use the same model, the performance is very, very poor. Why? Because this is the problem of what we call overfitting. The model is too specific. And if you use it with other data, then you get errors or at least false results. So we need to find somehow, when you create a model, specifically in a supervised machine learning. Supervised means that we tag. We say from the start that this picture is the real one, and this picture is a fake one. We need to find the right balance between the complexity of the model and the issue of underfitting or of overfitting. So when we say detect, is it simple? I showed you it's not so simple. And there is a research field, and we are currently working with the University of Luxembourg, which is basically not using supervised machine learning, but unsupervised machine learning techniques to be able to detect multi-types of deepfakes. And the issue with that is it should be explainable. We should understand why this picture is false or is considered as true, which is if you use deep learning, it's a challenge by its own, because it's high. Otherwise, it would be easy to explain why something stated that this is true or false. But in deep learning, it gets very complex. But also another thing is that it should be compact in such a way that we could use this technology on laptops or smartphone or any kind of end device we could use. And this is a research field that is ongoing. That means that there is no perfect solution. And I will show you also some stats, not on deepfake, but on telecom security, just to give you an example of accuracy. Real-time scenario here, the ideal solution in terms of detection, you could have a patient that has easy access to any kind of tool to do any kind of manipulation, fast swapping, or image reenactment, the 4 types I already mentioned. And then he accessed the doctor, and then showing another person, he could get sensitive data of the real one. So the ideal solution is through this interaction in an automated way. We should have detectors that will raise the flag saying, oh, it's fake or it's real. And if it's fake, obviously, we should, if possible, get the nature of this, the nature of the type that is used, and then cut the link, or at least inform the doctor that something is wrong there. It's very easy if you show it like I showed it, but in reality, it's very hard, and there are lots of impediments right now in order to get a very, very accurate and workable solution. So for the deepfake, what we can have in mind, first of all, the accessibility. The accessibility is very easy. We don't need lots of data in order to train the model and to get good results in terms of fake generation. On the other hand, the detection, it's already challenging for humans, but it's also very hard to detect with artificial intelligence. And the tests we have done so far, the accuracy with several models and combination of models, the accuracy is below 92%. And we think that in the near future, because of the evolution of the technology, it could be indistinguishable. And we see that more and more companies are trying to say, okay, if something is generated by artificial intelligence, then we should watermark or flag this output in order for any other tool to say, okay, this has been generated by an artificial intelligence. And obviously, the consequences I've already showed. Eroding trust. I think this is one of the very, very obvious consequence, but also wrongful convictions, acquittals, the frauds and cyber threats, and bullying on individuals. So I think that what you should have in mind with deepfake technology and this evolution is, could you still trust your eyes and ears? Very difficult to answer this question, but at least to be aware of what could be done now and what could be done in the future. Okay, now I wanted to give you some very, very practical examples of applied machine learning in telecom security. Probably you have, some of you have received phishing through SMS, okay? What we call smishing. And you see that it could be used to get information from the ones that click the links or exploit any public application. You have the statistic and you see the evolution between 2022 and 2023, and we see more and more. And obviously, I mean, if someone received the phishing via email, well, probably sometimes it's very obvious that it is a phishing. But if people received it through SMS, I don't know, but there is a kind of perception that if something is received by SMS, that it should be true. Okay. So we wanted to use deep learning techniques in order to make the fraudsters are using deep learning techniques to make phishing text more convincing. Okay, and they are using several languages, and the tools are very accessible. What we have done at Post Luxembourg is, first of all, the first attempt was to use supervised learning. As I said, we classify the kind of information we receive. Say, okay, this one is legitimate, this one is a spam, and this one is a phishing. These are real examples, and you see the languages in English, in French, and in German. And we use this data in order to train our model. But before providing the results, you have to know that if we talk about precision and recall, these are the definitions. Mainly, our goal is to have true positive and true negative, and to lower false negative and false positive. Like we have something that is legitimate, and it is shown by our tool as being a spam. And if we act on that, it could have consequences. You see with our first model, which is called the 1.0 version with traditional machine learning, supervised machine learning, you see that depending on the language, the accuracy, the precision is different, and at least always below 100%. I think we were around 92%, something like that. And why Luxembourgish, for example, is very, in terms of accuracy, it's very low. This is because the number of SMSs we receive in Luxembourgish language are very low compared to French and English. That's why. So the training data is lower, than the model takes less into account the specificities of phishing coming in Luxembourgish language. So, but we have done that. We tried to support 11 languages, right? It was also costly in terms of development, in terms of improving the language. So what we have said or tried so far was to say, okay, let's consider another way, which is unsupervised machine learning. So, and we used an open source tool, and there is a model which is called BERT sentence transformer. Basically, what it does, it takes it takes any kind of information like the text you can see, one in English and the other one in Italian, and then creates a vector, a digital vector of this text. And every component of the vector, they have different criteria. And this model is, or this transformer is used for a text classification where you want to do sentiment analysis to get customer feedback. Obviously, we use it here to prevent frauds. So with our version, we were able to consider 112 different languages, and the performance was very good. It's above 96%, and we do it in real time basically because we decode signaling flows in real time at the telco core network. And you see the amount of
I think we have lost Mohamed. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, he's back.
Okay, do you hear me? Sorry, there was a
interruption. You lost your slide, so
our slide is not there anymore. Okay, sorry about that. Do you see them?
Coming up. Yeah, it's good now.
Okay, great. So I said we were able to detect with a high precision on this machine, and by detecting, we are reacting, and the reaction is both on the telecom domain and on IT domain. On the telecom domain, for example, in an automated way, we block the senders, and in the SMSC, which is the component of the telco that is used, and on the IT domain, we block at the DNS level. We try to make the site unavailable anymore for our subscribers in order to avoid the fraud to be successful. Okay, so how is it working? Basically, the unsupervised machine learning, we create what we call clusters. It's a multi-dimensional cluster, and if something happens, it goes within one cluster. And some clusters are considered as legitimate SMSs, and others are obviously classified as true phishing attacks. So this is done that way with millions of data points, and also that's why we get very high accuracy. This technique is also used for calls. I don't know if you have heard about Wangari. So you get someone calling thousands of different phone numbers in Luxembourg, or you could have a call, and if you call back because you don't know the number, it will cost you a higher price because it's a premium number. You see that here with the fraud alerts, which are here at 3237. This is detected by explicit rules. Explicit rules means we have defined a specific rule, and if the rule is matched, then it is considered as a fraud. But the machine learning here, 1,675, which is the big amount of detection, is done by anomaly detection using deep learning. And by doing so, we are able also from this anomaly machine learning detection to create new rules. Okay.
Mohamed, can we quickly? We are running out of the time slot.
I have just one example, if you don't mind, is to use AI to help the engineers. Just give you an example here. Do you see? Do you see the video?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a chatbot we have created where there is an interaction between the engineer and the tool we have developed, because it's easier if you get an attack to understand what kind of attack it is. So this is the technical output, and then Telesia, we call it Telesia, explain us what kind of attack is it. Here it's an SS7 fraud attack with all the explanation, and you can you see the interaction. So it was long. Make it shorter, please, and then you will have a summary of the attack, and you will ask also the Telesia if it was successful without seeing the result. You see the answer of this chatbot. Voila. Okay, so I will not show more, but you see that we can use also artificial intelligence for good purpose here to facilitate the life of our engineers.
Yep.
Voila.
All right. Is that all, Mohamed, or do you have anything else?
Yes, it's. I think you told me that my time is.
Yes, of course. No,
Okay.
the topic is so interesting. You can go on and on. This is a topic which is for everyone.
Indeed.
We will discuss more in the panel session. So let's, without any further ado, Bernard, I would like to hand over to you for your session.
Hi, can you see my screen? I'm sharing now.
All good.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
good.
Well, thank you everybody for attending. Mohamed, fantastic presentation, really interesting material. I really love it, and I'd love to have this conversation with you privately because there are so many things you guys are doing. It's really, really great. My presentation is very different. It's not technical at all. It's more an overview of what is happening in the world of AI, what we do. We are Safecoms. We are a software company based in Bangkok. We do software development, and we develop in AI, and we use automation tools. So we use the other side of the hacking. We use the protective side. And so I'll give you a little overview. I'll try not to stay too long on my slide, but I'll try to give an overview of where we are. And before I go any further, I'd say just think about not hacking, not stealing data, whatever. Think about what would happen to your life, what would happen to the world if everything that we do in cryptography was broken, if we didn't have any digital currency, digital identity, no way to save our transaction, no way to secure our transaction. That would mean no more secret, and the world would stop operating. And this is not a possibility in the very far future. This is exactly what we are aiming to at the moment. We are in a situation where the evolution of computing at various levels is actually taking a lot of information and starting to break everything that we have in terms of protection. Cybersecurity is about protecting information, data, and infrastructure. And usually what we say is, well, it's an IT job. So we try to push this back to the IT management, and we say, use your technology, use systems, and everything like Mohamed was showing us, all these systems, please use that and protect us, make us safer. What we tend to do, and we do a lot of information work, is that we say cybersecurity is not an IT issue. Cybersecurity is a culture. And if you do not develop a culture in your company, you will fail with cybersecurity. And cybersecurity involves absolutely everybody, from the person opening the door in the morning, from the person opening mail, the guy following processes. You talked about $25 million being transferred because someone used a video mimicking the CFO of the company. It's unbelievable that things like that can happen, because the basic protection in process would stop this from happening. So technology is useless in that case because the people were not aware. The people were not aware of what could happen and how to handle this. Of course, in every company, there's always some people who believe they are above everything, and that's the issue. The culture includes everybody. And even this guy who thinks that he's above everything is actually the one that needs to be watched very, very carefully. CEOs of companies, and I know very well what it is like. We have so many customers where we have to train them, are usually saying, well, you protect me so I can do whatever I want. And then this is not the way it works. This is not the way it will work. We need to be able to create this culture. In terms of hacking and protection, what we see is, yes, there are high-tech attacks, as we were seeing through Mohamed's video, and some of these high-tech attacks are made easier because of the technology in AI. However, we see that the most popular one remains social engineering, remained ransomware. There was a decrease in ransomware. Social engineering is incredibly high, and it's the easiest one to do. And because of the AI tools that can impersonate people, the AI tools that can collect information and harvest information from everywhere, you're going to see these attacks increasing massively. They will, first of all, get a lot of information faster, and deeper, and the second one, they will be automated. So you're going to have zillions of them attacking you all the time. The other thing we've noticed is that there's an evolution in the target. We deal mainly with SMEs, sometimes enterprise. We have big enterprise customers, but we favor the SME. Because the large enterprise are becoming smarter and better at protecting their asset and their data, hackers are attacking people who have less power to defend themselves. And because AI is there to help them, automation is there to help them, they can actually target larger volume of SME, and they target people who have a very high risk because of their reputation. If you run a lawyer firm and your data is actually published on the web, and all your contract with your client, all the deals that you are working with are public, it's a disaster for your business. If you're an accountant and all the figures and the numbers and the payroll and everything is leaked on the dark web, it's a disaster. And the hackers know that you will pay more easily some money to them. It's going to be a smaller amount, but so many more people will be able to pay that. This is the way they do. Mitnick, who died last year, was the grandfather of social engineering, and he penetrated the North American defense system and through a phone call. And last year, MGM was hacked, Caesar Palace was hacked through a phone call. The cost of the incident was $100 million on a simple phone call. A guy convinced someone to reset a password. So these are so easy to do that they will continue. Social engineering, phishing, ransomware, impersonating people, and automation on top of that is absolutely there. Quantum computing is something that I'm passionate with, and I've studied this at university. In the last few years, everybody was saying quantum computing is going to kill the world of encryption. We're going to be able to brute force any kind of encryption. We're going to be able to attack anything. It didn't work. It didn't work. It's still not there yet. There are still so many errors created by quantum computing. It's not reliable yet, but it's evolving and it's doing quite well. I think, however, that we don't expect quantum computing to become the real threat. And we think that AI is going to be the real threat. So recently, you have seen everything happening with AI and the introduction of 4.0. I don't know if you guys have been using this, but 4.0 just came up a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It's a multimodal system. It can talk to you, you can talk to it, it can read things, it can look at images, it can comment, it can act on images. And we use it in our development with clients, where we organize with them the possibility to recognize objects and match them in an inventory system or tracking plant manufacturing and things like that. So it's fascinating what you can do with this. And we said, don't trust anything anymore. Mohamed has a really nice video of himself as an avatar, and we had these two friends joining us in a conference in Bangkok and visiting Patpong in traditional Thai clothes. You can't believe anything anymore. You can't trust anything. Voice cloning, people are going to call you and pretend that they've been hacked or pretend they've been attacked, and they ask money to be helped to get rid of the problem. And we need now to question absolutely everything. I want to go a little bit through the evolution of AI because there's a lot of things that needs to be done here that can be mentioned over here. I mean, AI started quite early in the 50s. I mean, most of us were not born then. And the first time somebody coined the term AI was in 1956. And then we had some program, people playing chess, and it became really interesting. We were all fascinated with the chess, but it stopped there. And there was a long winter until machine learning and data-driven started being available. Then we had massive amount of data available. We could train machines, we could start learning what they do. And then we had deep learning. And that's when Kaspersky was beaten by Big Deep Blue, a computer program that beat the biggest champion of chess. And 20 years later, we had the similar thing with a computer beating a Go game champion. So things started evolving dramatically quickly, and then ChatGPT came up, totally unexpected large language model, and it got 1 million subscribers in about 3 days. So the absorption and the acceptance of the technology is extremely fast. And now we are stuck with a system where we don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going to happen with general AI. Is it going to be something that we can deal with easily or not? Ethical consideration are important. And then what is the future? And then I'd like to touch a little bit on that because we need to really understand where we can go. So just a few words, AI evolution. We started from generative AI, where we were mimicking human knowledge, and people say, well, AI does not exist because actually the only thing we do is reproduce what people do, and it is mimicking whatever. AGI is around the corner, and for people who believe that AI is just mimicking, they will have a big surprise because we have systems today that train themselves. We don't have enough data. They have absorbed everything from the internet to learn. So now they're creating synthetic data. You have systems creating their own data to train themselves or other AI. And we see the future with super intelligent AI, where we have no idea where we're going. We have no idea what's going to happen. Those who pretend that they know are completely lying. It's a totally unknown possibility of world. If I try to put AI on a scale and using the steps as a possibility, at the bottom you got the insect, and then a bit further you got the chicken and some animal, and then you reach the chimpanzee, and a bit further than the chimpanzee you get the human person. And this is the level of intelligence we have. And if you take somebody like Einstein, which was supposed to have something like 145 IQ, you have ChatGPT-4, which is extremely close to that. And we expect GPT-5 to be between 5 and 10 times more intelligent than the GPT-4. So we're talking about a brain that's going to be more apt at solving problem and discovering things that Einstein was. And that's one thing that we don't know how this is going to happen. What we know, it's around the corner, and we'll talk about that after because it's really very close. The next one is the super AI, super intelligent AI. This is going to be 100 to 500 times more intelligent, and there is no limit to it because the Pandora box has been opened, open source model have been let go, and nobody can stop this anymore. We are in a system where there's no way we can stop it. We have to live with it. To give you an idea of adoption, ChatGPT went to 3 million users in 1 million users in 3 days, and 100 million users in 2 months. This is the fastest adoption that we've seen in any technology so far. When we looked at Netflix, it took 10 years to reach that level. And we now have so many users, and they are getting now paying users, and all these things are really making a huge difference. I'd like to come back to a few months ago when Sam got fired from OpenAI, and he went out for 3 days and then came back. The board that fired him decided that he was fired because he did not comply from the directive of the board of directors. Well, he came back, they got canceled, and they're replaced by some people in favor of Microsoft who take over the management of OpenAI. Sam Altman came back to it. At the same time, when Altman got fired, there was a document leaked to Reuters, and Reuters published it. The document exists, it's on the web, you can find it. And it explained what had been discovered at OpenAI. And apparently, an encryption used in government banks and everywhere, AES 192, which is one of the largest used encryption mechanism that is being used for all the banking and the military, had been cracked by OpenAI program, Qualia, QX. And the way this happened is that they have developed mechanism in the large language model where you do predictive. And what Mohamed was showing is that you take a bunch of words and then you create a matrix of the value, and then you get the probability of seeing the next word. And by using this, you actually predict what the next word will be, and you create sentences, and it's the high quality level of intelligence. That's why people say it's mimicking. However, that they are technology where they are using mechanism where the system is actually trying different ways to get to the solution, even though it's not going anywhere. It will use it. And they say that through the mechanism, they actually managed to find a way to crack AES 192 in a way that nobody at OpenAI could find how it was done. So this is the first time we had computers doing something that people do not understand. And it is quite scary if this is true. Now, why I'm mentioning this is the fact that when Sam Altman was asked after, some people have said this is not true, the document is a fake, it's been pushed, but it's not right, whatever. Sam Altman was asked in a press conference, and the press conference is available on the internet, you can listen to it. And it said, what about this document that was leaked to Reuters? And Sam replied in a way that everybody was shocked. He said, it was an unfortunate leak. He didn't say it was fake. He didn't say it was wrong. He said it was an unfortunate leak. So we are now facing a possibility that AI has reached a level of AGI, which is the level of understanding and making their own learning and own technology themselves. And it's in the end of OpenAI, and nobody knows what control we can have. We could talk later about what happened in Microsoft taking a serious control over this, but it's a different story. We are facing a system where if we take an axis and you take a vertical and an horizontal axis, you have vertically people who will say AI is going to help us, is going to be doing a lot of good things for us. Like Elon Musk, who replied, there will be universal high income because none of us will have a job. AI will do absolutely everything. And this is going to be plenty of time to learn and enjoy and have a great life. And then you have this horizontal one pushing the other way that says AI is going to be giving control, massive amount of control for the government and be able to monitor everybody, where they are, what they do, and block them if they don't behave the way the government expects, as we have seen. And nobody knows where we're going, because with the AI increasing in knowledge and in intelligence, we have no idea who will be in charge of it. And whether the people who created it will remain in charge is a very, very big question. You're probably all familiar with the Turing test, when they said you talk to a robot, and if you don't see the person you talk to and you can't guess it's a robot, well, then it's actually reached passed the test. I don't know the Turing test for this AI intelligence, what it's going to be, but we have seen AI data being manipulated. When I started playing with AI in GPT-3, we would ask a question to the AI and get a typical answer, very strong answer with a lot of topic, quickly, very well explained. And then when we asked GPT 3.5 a few months later, the answer came 100%, 180-degree back and completely different and say, no, these are conspiracy theory and this has been debunked and all that. So we know today the content of AI is actually monitored, and there are people feeding it what they want, and things are allowed and things are not allowed. And we would understand the Turing test for AI will be, in my opinion, when AI doesn't care about what human people will feed them with, and they will make their own mind and they will make their own understanding and their own analysis, and they will be totally liberated from people analyzing it. And it is scary, I admit. Sorry, on this one, I'd like to say a few words about this because it's also in line with what Elon Musk was saying. And what is next in AI? We have a lot of progress in the world. The carriage pulled by horses with all the manure dropped in the street, and then the vapor steam engine, and then the explosion engine and the rocket. Fantastic evolution. We had the first flight with something built with bamboo and cloth and flying, and today we've got jets and rocket. So the evolution we've made so far is fantastic. And if we look at education, we had classes 100 years ago where you have kids in the class sitting at the desk with a pen and a paper, and now 100 years later, the progress is fantastic. We have the same class, the same desk, more people, one instructor, and iPad have replaced the paper. Zero progress in tutoring, and this is a disaster. We can expect AI to change all this because we can now have a student logging into an AI and having a discussion, having a conversation with an AI, which is a private tutor, which is a private teacher. In healthcare, the number of old people who don't know what to do, wasting their time waiting to die, will now have possibility to have someone to talk to at any time. And we have synthetic biology. Synthetic biology doesn't mean that you're going to put a chip in people's brain, but it means now in biology, we can build cells that can reconstruct organs, and then we don't have to wait until someone dies to have an organ for a person who needs one, but we might be able soon to be able to create some of them.
Collin, can we start wrapping up?
Yes, I have two more slides that are really important. I think that I would like to go through them. When I was a kid, I had in my bedroom, I had a little terrarium with ants, and they were making their tunnel, and I was fascinated looking at them. And one day they escaped, and my parents just couldn't wait to kill them all because they were pests. I want to say that we need to understand that we look at the scale of intelligence, and for us to look at ants the way they were, we're going to have SAI, super intelligent, looking at us the same way as we were looking at ants. And this is something that we need to understand this because it has some serious impact. And the second one that I want to make is the reason some people commit suicide, and we've seen that happening worldwide, is because they feel obsolete. They feel they've lost their purpose for living, and they've lost every objective in life, and then they end up killing themselves. If, as Elon Musk was saying, all the jobs are taken by AI, everything is done for us, we've got the perfect life, and they feed us with everything we need, it's going to be potentially another risk like that. There is a little story which is called the dog story that I would like to push in. The dog story is, imagine that we human, that the dog have invented the human to take care of them. So dogs are there and they're quite happy and they have a good life, and human take care of them when they need food, human feed them, when they're sick, human help them get better, and the human keep them company, and they can communicate, they can understand what the human tell them, and they can communicate back to human to ask for food or ask for attention, and this is working. Now the dog has no understanding of the fact that the human has social interaction with other human, has social network that he attend to, that work to do, and understand different languages. The dog has no perception that at all. We are going to be in that situation like the dog, where the SAI will be like the human. These AI will have conversation between themselves, will run an organizing between themselves that we will not even understand they're doing it. And this is an extremely important aspect of AI. What do we have to do? Preserve human behavior, study, be involved, organize the cybersecurity culture to make sure that we keep some interaction and get the world probably better than it is today, because the way it is run at the moment is probably not the best one. That's the end of my presentation. I would like to just remember my 3 messages. And if you can keep that, cybersecurity is a culture. Don't believe IT is going to help you. They cannot. The culture is important for everybody. The targets are moving down. If you're a small company, an SME, be prepared, because it's going to hit you big time. And remember the dog story. Now we got time for the question.
We will take the question as a part of our panel session. So I think fantastic session, Bernard. I think I really enjoyed it. I really learned quite a few things, and I love your dog story. I'm going to steal it in my next presentation, with your permission.
You can.
So let's get into panel. So I would like to invite Mohamed and Bernard back on the stage, and there are a couple of questions I have, which I'm going to ask each of them to set the tone. So Bernard, I would like to go with you first, because you ended up with a very nice note about how AI is going to change the world. But if you flip the coin and look at it, will artificial intelligence help us counter the cybercrime, or can it be used to enhance the cybersecurity what we have today? We saw the dark side, but would love to hear your thoughts on the positive side as well.
Yeah, how can AI help? Lots. We do software development, and we create system with AI to actually help our customer get better protection. AI can be monitoring 24/7. You don't need someone to be behind a desk to check what's happening. You can build AI system to check everything that's happening on your network, on your gateway, on your systems, on your data. You can actually look at a larger number of data that we could before. You can automate response, and you can say, if this happens, I'll block it there. We build system, like if you say, ransomware has been really a nasty thing. We build system where if we get a ransomware attack, first you click on something, the code come in. A ransomware is always a tiny little piece of code. It doesn't have the information to do anything, except one thing is call out to get the rest of the code to be able to become a real threat, encrypt and do whatever damage they want to do. So if we see somebody clicking on the link and the piece of code that comes in based on that link, and then the call calls out to bring back the rest of the code, we block it there. And we can block tons of attack automatically. So we can actually block ransomware quite efficiently using AI and using things like this. We have predictive model. We look at what happened, and we look at what could happen, and we, based on history, see what is a possibility. And then we can react much faster. We can deploy patching much faster, automated, and like zero-time attack. You get a threat, you can block it immediately, automatically, if you've designed the system to do that. You don't have to wait for an engineer to look at it, analyze it, and then implement it.
Great question. Mohamed, I would like to come to you on the next topic. Is there are lots of types of cyber attack we are seeing, and especially cybercrime. I mean, in your experience as a CISO, what are the top cybercrime you see today, and if you have any advice on terms of what are the precautions an individual or a company can take to avoid these kind of cybercrime or to combat with them?
Okay.
Sorry, is that for Mohamed? Or for
Yeah,
me?
Mohamed.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to highlight one point that Bernard showed is the cultural aspect within a company, because I mean, we say avoid cyber attacks. I mean, the cyber attacks are there, and for us as a telecom provider, we could be targeted because we are a very important infrastructure for the country, but could be used as a mean to target, for example, I don't know, European institutions or very important companies. You never know. Basically, you could be a target or could be a mean. The other thing is besides the awareness that every employee should have, and I totally agree that every employee means every employee, not only, let's say, the usual suspects, if I may say, but all the administrators or the CEO, the board of the directors, they should be aware of that, because we never know what could happen. I will give you an example that happened. I think it was just before the COVID period, where one of our subsidiary has been attacked. It was an insider. If you see the, let's say, the probability to have an insider doing something is very low. But if you are fully digitalized as a company, if someone, because in a company in IT, you want to be more efficient. That means you give access to DevOps. We call DevOps. You have scripts everywhere to automate things. But if you automate, you fully automate, you open doors as well. Because if someone knows all this automation, how it is done, and so on, he could take, and this is really what happened, he could hide behind service accounts and not only disrupt, but fully scrap the information system, scrap the backups, and then at the end, zero. You have nothing left. And this is exactly what happened to one of our subsidiaries. So to answer your question, we see, I would say, traditional attacks like the one I've mentioned, like phishing, which is basically not the aim, because this is only the initial access. Mm-hmm. We see also another thing that is happening is that if you deploy technologies and you deploy more and more technologies, the information systems are scattered. You use multi-cloud, you have on-premise infrastructure, you have this hyperconvergence, very complex stuff. That means from a human standpoint, it's very hard to follow. First, to understand your information system. Secondly, if something happens, to detect this something and to react on this something. That's why more and more, it's very important to have a combination between the expert and the artificial intelligence. This is this combination that brings value in order to detect and react efficiently.
No, thanks so much for highlighting that. Bernard, I would like to come back to you in terms of you operate your business in Asia market. And based on your experience in working in Asia and serving in the Asia market, what are the key statistics you see in terms of cybercrime and threat within the Asia market? And is there any takeaway for our audience today in terms of how they can report this cybercrime?
You hit a really difficult point over there. First of all, I said the cybercrime in Thailand is quite serious. We had a conference with the chief of police a few weeks ago, and they reported $1.3 billion in 23 in terms of value of attack. Worldwide, the value total is between $6 and $8 trillion. This, depending on if you talk to Sophos or talk to other companies, the minimum we've seen is maybe $5.5 trillion, and the maximum is $8.5 trillion. So they're all within the same fork. The threat we have in Asia, I think, is the same everywhere. We're getting social engineering, we're getting phishing, we're getting ransomware. The attack, the way we measure attack is that we take the probability of an attack to happen, multiply by the importance of the damage that can be created, divided by a coefficient for the difficulty to realize it. And that gives us a priority. We have detection system, and that's how we run them to find out which priority should we go for. Now, the question you've asked, which is very difficult, and I don't know how I can answer this, but how do we report cybercrime? We don't have a clear mechanism to report a cybercrime in our area, in Thailand. We don't have one in Cambodia. We don't have one in Myanmar, which are the area that we are most concerned with. And we can talk to the police, to the cybercrime police. Mm-hmm. But if we don't talk about millions of dollars, they have no interest because it's too small. If we don't talk about political target, they have no interest because it's irrelevant to them. So it's very, very difficult to find a way to report cybercrime. There's no mechanism that is designed and that works well. Unfortunately, I think this is one of the biggest things we're going to be working on is to develop a channel with the government so we can have an easier mechanism to report cybercrime, even when it's not a huge amount of money, but it concerns reputation of people and small companies disappearing. Yes.
That's interesting because in some of the mature markets such as Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, there are a lot of mechanisms to report either with the national cert or, for example, Australia Student Directorate in what we have in Australia. But interesting to see why other upcoming emerging market like Thailand and Cambodia, and maybe they need to step up, or maybe partnership is required with other mature countries to navigate these kind of scenarios.
Maybe I can add one last thing, and the reason being probably the fact that they ran a survey last year in Thailand and asking people, what do you think the chance of having a cyber attack exists for your company and how bad it could be? And 75% of the people just replied that they were not concerned. They didn't think it could happen. When actually we have a huge amount of attack every day. People they're not really concerned until it happens to them, and then they really panic.
True. I mean, they will say, "Oh, we have nothing to lose." That's also a common thing we hear. Okay, one last parting question, and I would like to go back to Mohamed to end this particular session by understanding, Mohamed, what in your role as a CISO, what have been the impact of a cybercrime in your organization, if there is any?
Okay. Well, first of all, maybe in terms of notification. In Europe, at least, there are some regulators and European regulation that imposes us to notify if something happens. Okay, is it done? Is it always done? Is it done in the right way? That's another question. But at least we are forced to do so. And I think at least in Luxembourg we have a pretty good view on what is happening in terms of threats and in terms of consequences. Now, with regard to your question, I mean, as I told you, I think the most practical thing is to give you an example that happened. I think it was 1 month ago, where we got, a DDoS attack. You may say, okay, DDoS attack, okay, that's fine. We have all the means to detect and to react on it, and we have that. We have that at the operator level, but we have that at the national level. We have a national scrambling center that is here in case of a wave of big DDoS attack. But what happened was not a volumetric attack. It was the system didn't detect. It was only some flows, but they have been fogged in such a way that even the WAF didn't detect it. And then the website or any kind of target was completely out of order because of memory and CPU consumption. So, and all the measures that have been taken and the technical means, they didn't detect because the flows were considered as legitimate. The only reaction we had at that time, because of the consequences, that it has had a consequence in terms of not financial consequences, but more in terms of image, because the hackers behind were using Telegram to say, okay, well, we have targeted this entity, that entity, and it's not available anymore, and so on and so forth. The fact is that, I mean, we figure out how to detect this kind of attack, knowing that all the measures that have been taken so far and the technologies that have been deployed, they consider this as legitimate traffic. You see, the other thing which is also very, I mean, it's concerning is that let's assume one of your clients is targeted, being a person or being a company. Well, everything is encrypted now. So if you transport the information, everything is encrypted. So that means if you want to detect something, and if this detection is very relevant, then you have to put something on the device of the client or on and after the encryption. We have this issue. For example, I mentioned the signaling threats, like if someone where you can redirect the calls, or you get the SMS that is sent to a person that could be used for economic reasons, like you want to get information about this deal being done by one of your competitors. This happened. Well, in 4G, 3G, 4G, well, everything wasn't clear in terms of signaling. In 5G, that becomes IT, becomes Docker, and we can. So the taping, even the taping, it's a virtual taping. You need to be close to the virtual function. So every day something is happening. When we detect, that's fine, and we use machine learning, as I mentioned. We help our customers also to recover. We help because we mutualize our resources. So we protect the company, we provide assistance, and we provide services to our customer. But the problem is what we don't detect yet. Yeah, and it's very hard. And maybe one thing that has not been mentioned, and I would like to highlight this point, even though it's not security related. We are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about ethical aspect of artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we ask artificial intelligence to behave and we don't ask ourselves as a human to behave like that. For example, explainability. If you take a decision, you can rationalize your decision, but at the end, your decision is not done by your brain, it's done by your heart, basically. You ask artificial intelligence not to be biased, but everyone has a biased output could happen. So it's a kind of trade-off we need to find between what we ask to the artificial intelligence and we expect from this artificial intelligence in terms of value. And I totally agree that if it is not well handled, we could lead to something that where we will be close to the Orwellian dystopia.
Thanks. I mean, any questions from the audience before we wrap up? Otherwise, this has been a very great and interesting and enlightening session so far. I don't see anything on the chat, but if anyone from the audience would like to come off mute or ask question, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, I will hand it over back to Pauline.
Yeah. What an amazing and interesting session. Yeah. The three of you did so well. Yeah. Great presentation from Mohamed, Biana, and excellent moderation from you, Abbas. Yeah. So we have our esteemed speakers. Yeah. Mohamed located in Luxembourg. Bernard, from Thailand, but located in Tokyo right now, and Abbas in Melbourne. So thank you so much to our audience. I'm so impressed that we have close to 50 participants today. It's really amazing. And, I'm sure today we have our members from so many countries joining us today. So please stay tuned, everyone. We have another interesting event coming up at the end of June. Yeah, it's going to be on customs. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day, have a good evening, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Pauline, I would like to add that we are not deepfakes, real persons here, everywhere.
We're not AI.
All right, thanks, Mohamed.
And goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
you.
you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.